Find out how God entered this marriage and never left. Also, find out how God put these two together and kept them together on this episode of Shine with Kendall Anise.
Shine with Kendall Anise. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
All right, y'all, this is a great episode coming up. I have Victor and Sheila Dunbar. They have been married 24 years. They have gone through it when it comes to love and relationships and marriage. They experience infidelity and some other challenges in their marriage. Find out the shocking details on why Victor says that Sheila saved his life. Literally. We're going to find out on this episode of Shine with Kendall Anise. It was such a powerful episode. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. What I'm going to do is play the episode and come back in the end. I want to put a disclaimer out. We did this over Wi-Fi in a storm. So some parts are choppy, but I promise you it gets better. Stick with this episode so you can hear it out. I asked them to repeat a couple of things to make sure you catch it. But y'all, I don't have nothing to do with Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi was strong, but the weather wasn't. But the message is still there. This is the season finale episode of Shine with Kendall Anise. You know, season 11 was focusing on relationships. So I decided to have this as an extended episode so you can get all of this. So the couple sat there and they were very candid, very honest. They kept it all the way real. And that's how we learn, right? That's how we grow. Because just because you see somebody married 24 years, some people think, oh, well, they haven't been through anything. They have been through a lot and they're still lasting. Love and marriage, standing the test of time. Literally, that's what this episode is about. So I'll come back in the end. All right, welcome to this episode of Shine with Kendall Anise. I am your host, Kendall Anise. This is a life podcast. Life be lifing, but I'm here to help you through it. As always, welcome in and tell a friend. And make sure you share this episode out because I know your friends and family are going through life too. This will bless them as well. All right, on to this week's episode of Shine with Kendall Anise. All right, it's time for this week's life note. All right, what is a life note? We're going to do it quickly. It's a saying or a quote that gets us through this episode of Shine with Kendall Anise. Something to make you say, to make you think about marriage in this way. Again, season 11 was focusing on relationships. So this is the quote. A great marriage is not when the perfect couple comes together. It is when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy the differences. You'll hear some of the differences this couple has, but you'll hear that they're more alike than different. Join this podcast already in progress. This episode. Hey everybody, it is Kendall Anise, the Remix Coach, and we are here with season 11 of Shine with Kendall Anise. This is a life podcast. And I'm so excited that this is the last episode of season 11 as we wrap up. We have been talking about relationships. We have talked about the good, the bad, the ugly, the lessons, the blessings, and everything in between. I had some amazing guests this season. I took about 3 weeks off. So if you've seen the last podcast episode and this one, there is a large gap. And that's because I had a book that came out and I'm excited about that. And my guest today is one of the authors in that book. It is about motherhood. Motherhood is every single day. It's through, it's a beautiful compilation. It's an anthology with several people talking about their mothers. What I've learned about and from my mother as my personal journey as her child, through my personal journey as her child. And it's about love, lessons, and leadership. And when I tell you that so many people have contributed so many amazing stories when it comes to their moms, whether it's memories. We have poems in there for their mothers. We have lessons and quotes and sayings and just honoring the mom. We even have a section where we have men and their moms. And it's beautiful. I was able to dedicate it to all the moms out there and what made me do it. God gave me this idea last year to do this, and it's honoring my mom. So I talk extensively about my mom, sharing some memories in the beginning, and my daughters did the same for me. So this past weekend on Mother's Day, I read it to my mom, and my daughters read it to me. So it was a beautiful moment. And my guest has an amazing tribute to her mom in this book as well. So we're going to talk about that later. But we are going to focus on relationships. This episode is Love and Marriage, Standing the Test of Time. My guests have been married for 24 years in July coming up. So we already said they're there. 24 years they have been married. And we were talking off camera, and I talked about loving her hair. And she says, I always switch it up. And I said, that might be part of the secret of lasting 24 years, because you don't want a relationship or a marriage to get stale. And I was thinking about 24 years, and I've had marriages with an S, and I don't think they lasted 24 years combined. So it's a beautiful thing to have found the right partner in life and to be able to do life together in that type of way in marriage. Marriage is not always easy. There are ups and downs, twists and turns, but to be able to stand the test of time and say, this is still my person, and we're going to get through whatever together, no matter what. My couple is like no other couple, or like other couples, I should say, going through challenges. It's about how you deal with it. They've had tragedies, they've had experiences that nobody would want to go through, but they got through them together. So I wanted to end this season with the season finale with my dear sis, Sheila Dunbar, and her husband, Victor Dunbar. So they're going to talk about their marriage with you, and we're just going to have some fun talking about it, because oftentimes people say, well, marriage is difficult, marriage is hard, and I get that, and I'm going to ask them if they believe that, because it's a 50-50 thing. Some people are like, marriage is not hard, you just got the wrong person. And some is like, marriage is hard, it's work. It's a job, but it's worth it in the end. So we're going to see what my guests say about that. But make sure, you guys, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do so. It's available on all podcast platforms: Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Audible, and some more. So if you know where to find the podcast, I guarantee you Shine with Kendall Lanice is on there. And I'm just so grateful and thankful that I was able to do 11 years. To God be the glory. 11 seasons of Shine with Kendall Lanice. And we've had amazing conversations and amazing guests throughout, and some fantastic life coaching, if I do say so myself, because it is a life podcast. So we talk about real things over here. We've talked about relationships that don't work. So it's beautiful to talk about a relationship that does work. It's about balance. So if you haven't subscribed to the podcast and you haven't downloaded episodes, what are you waiting for? Please do so now. And tell your friends and family, don't be stingy with this podcast, because this type of podcast is going to help you grow. It's going to help you mature. It's going to help you think. It's going to allow you to be the best version of yourself, whether you're in a relationship or not. It's going to help you with your family. It's going to help you with your friends. It's going to help you with your significant others. And it's going to allow you to love more and be stretched, because that's where the growth comes from. So again, welcome in and tell a friend. All right, my guest, as I said earlier, are Victor and Sheila Dunbar. So let's welcome them to Shine with Kendall Lanice. And they sitting pretty too. They looking real good. Oh, I must say that.
Thank you.
Yes, I must say before we go. So this podcast is available on all the audio podcast platforms, as I stated. But right now, I'm looking at this beautiful couple. So if you're able to catch it on YouTube, watch both. All right, hey y'all.
Hey.
How are you?
I am well. I'm not sure if it's a delay.
How are you?
I am well. I am well. You already know I'm running in from the gym. And I'm so excited to see you all and to have this conversation with you guys today.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's a little delay or anything. So, but you can hear me though, okay, right?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So hi, Victor. How
It's a
you?
little bit of a delay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. You know, sometimes it's a delay. I'm not sure, but as
I'm
long as you
glad.
can hear
I'm
me,
glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. I've got to ask.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to start from the beginning. Where did you two meet?
Woo! Oh my goodness! You want me to tell the story, or you want to tell the story?
I can tell the story real quick.
Mine is more funnier, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I was walking down a particular avenue in Queens, and about 500 feet in front of me, I had to make a right. And before I made that right, God told me life is going to change. And I had the opportunity to question if I should make the right. And I made the right, and then this is what God gave me. So this was preordained. And I'm just glad to be here now with her.
All right, Sheila, what's your version? What's your version?
No, I'm a... No. Okay. No. You know, we talk about things, but what we were doing, I was doing a fashion show. My brothers and I were doing a fashion show for the church that I was at the time, and we needed more models.
Right.
And we had asked one of the models in the show. We had asked her if she knew someone. She says, "Oh yeah, I know someone." And she asked his sister,
Right.
and his sister didn't want to be in it, so his sister asked him. And it was so funny because I was standing out on the porch of the church, and I was standing with one of my girlfriends who was also in the fashion show, and I saw him and it was a long block. I don't know if you ever been to Manhattan in New York. It was one of those long blocks, and I saw this tall man walking. I'm like, ooh! I'm like, who is that? And I said to my friend, I said, I think that's the guy who's going to be in the show. And of course, it was him. And you know, we did the fashion show, and I remember my brother wanted him to walk with someone else in the show. And I said, "You listen to me." I said, "I want to walk with him. You don't let nobody else walk with him but me, because you know." He's 6'7" and I'm 5'8".
Right.
So I'm like, I want to walk with him.
How
So
tall
he
did you
changed
say?
everything
How tall
around
is he?
it. And he's 6'7".
And you're 5'8".
And I'm 5'8". So we walked together in the show, and then we went out on some dates, and I think like that was in 98. And then the next year we literally were married. But then the next year, engaged. The show was in Mother's Day in 1999, and
by 2000
by 2000 we got married.
Correct.
Wow. So let's talk about that year. Let's talk about what happened in that year that the next year you were already married. Like, this was your husband, this was your wife.
I believe that this marriage was first born in the spirit, and I believe that the time frame that it took for us to get married was just God's timing. He was just saying, because both of us have two different lives, or had two different lives, and once we submitted to the Holy Spirit, once we submitted and came to our senses, He was able to, put us in that window. I believe that 3-month period was a window that was just for us, and it became quite apparent that we should be together. So on the spiritual side, it was God's timing, and my wife was very vocal. She was like, "I'm not here to waste time. If you're going to be with me, this is what I need to do." And I was kind of around that same area, so it worked out well.
And Kendall, it was like before I met my husband, I had met someone that I had dated when I was in college, and I thought he was going to be the one, and there were things that, I know I've seen a couple of your shows, and they were like your podcast, and there were a couple of red flags that came up, with him. And one of the things was I had recently rededicated my life to God, and I had started going to church regularly, and he had a big problem with that, I wanted to have children, and he had a child from a previous relationship, and he didn't have any kind of relationship with that child, and it wasn't like I was living in New York at the time, and I lived in Queens, he lived in Queens, and his daughter lived in Brooklyn, so it's like maybe 20 minutes away. And I'm like, how can you have a child 20 minutes away and no relationship? So it was a lot of those little red flags. So when we broke up, I remember it was October of 1998, and I remember praying to God, and I said, Lord, if you send me the man that I want, my husband, I'm going to be celibate. We are going to be abstinent. I'm not gonna be intimate anymore until we get married, until our wedding night, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That was hard. It was definitely hard, but that was one of the things that I had prayed for, and I remember this was in October of 1998, and I met my husband to be in April of 1999.
Wow.
And,
wow. Wow. Victor said something earlier. You said that you knew in the spirit already that this was meant to be, and pretty much you were waiting for her to catch up. And then she prayed for her husband to come. And then she saw you walking down that street, and she said, there he is right there. That's him. What was happening outside of what wasn't happening with you guys physically? What was happening spiritually with you guys within in that year? Because that's powerful.
I think we were connected in a lot.
No, she's talking about individually. What was happening to you before we got married in that year?
Oh, before we
got
Oh, well,
spiritually.
Spiritually. Oh, I know. I mean, I was definitely growing because, like I said, I was with Christ the year before, because I was out there, and I knew I had to be. That was one of the things I was praying to learn how to be, because I mean, being single and the type of person that I was, and being very strong-willed, and I always felt to be high maintenance. Kind of, I felt I was very high maintenance, and it was things that I was always me. So now I had to learn how to be to share, and to be not always Sheila, because I was living by myself. I was very financially secure. I had a really good job. It was, so I was one of those women that if I met a man, he had to be right there, and God sent me someone that was not the total opposite, because but he kind of pushed back on me. He's never the type of person that says, okay, hon, I have to work for it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? I have to work for it. And it's the same way. He has to work for it. And that's is that I always say this all the time, is like, he never knows what Sheila he's gonna get. I was very, very into my word, and he was a little surprised when I told him it was something that I truly believed in, and I wanted our first time to be special, and I wanted that to be our wedding night, So good.
Yeah. And we're about to pray over this Wi-Fi, because I'm not sure what's happening. It's raining here, so I apologize. It's raining really badly here, so I apologize. I'm not sure what's going on with the Wi-Fi, but I want to make sure people hear you clearly, and I know it's a little lapse. But go ahead.
It's fine. I believe that, well, I know spiritually I was, you find yourself in the flesh. And it wasn't until I saw the reward of what being in the flesh was that I found her. So in the year prior to meeting her, in the years, I was just, I didn't lean on the Holy Spirit. I leaned on my own senses. I was very carnal. And it wasn't until the payment for being carnal came, and I had to pay that, I said, okay, so what do you want me to do, Lord? If this is the one, okay, then I'm just going in the way that you want me to go. So that's where it was. So
when you saw her, I know she saw you walking down the street.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense, because you were living in a different way, but it wasn't what your innate living, what it wasn't what you wanted to live and how you wanted to live. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah. No, yes. I get it.
Yeah. And see, yes, exactly. But he also gave me the free will, because he told me, when you walk down this block and you take the right, your life is going to change. So
wow.
I knew what he had.
Wow.
I just had to, submit to his will. And then this is why we're together. Yep. Yeah.
So he literally told you, when you turn this corner, your life is going to change.
Yes.
That's powerful. And
even now,
wow.
yeah.
Even now, what did you say?
I actually ran from it. No, I actually ran from it once I saw her in the church, because being carnal, I'm like, okay, is a church, is a woman. I knew it was about to be over. So, it was like, even then I wanted to turn around, but I had made the commitment. He told me, I submitted to his will, and actually it has preserved me. I don't think I would have been here. It sounds like I got something on my nose. But I don't think I would have been here had I submitted and been married, because it does preserve you when you do it right.
Wow, that right there is so powerful, and a lot of people don't really understand that, especially for a man to have found that one and to be obedient to God, and to say that your marriage preserved you. Had you not been married, you don't know if you would have been preserved in this way. And statistics say that men live longer lives when they are married. Can you expound that on that? So why do you feel, and how do you feel? Because I think the men really need to hear this and understand, and so do women, when it comes to allowing God to choose your purpose partner. How has it preserved you?
Well, I had some infidelity in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And in that infidelity, I was able to look at the menu, but when the bill came, it almost killed me. So I was living with it I'd stepped outside of the marriage, and everything was fine. And then when God said, you need to shape up or die, that was basically it. I mean, I was in a situation to where I couldn't swallow whole foods because I was being disobedient to him. So God sent her to the actual place I was living, and I came out crying. I was out of my mind almost, because when you're outside of God's anointing, when you're outside of his grace, then the devil can get on you, and he's not playing.
Yeah.
So when I say it has preserved me, that's just not a cliche. Coming back to her by the leading of the Holy Spirit, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. And I remember, because you were like, I want to say like
suicidal.
Yeah, and he was like 90 pounds. When he called me, he was like 90 pounds, and I remember, because you called me, and he called me and he said he wanted to commit suicide. And I literally went to where he was, and he was about, literally, I want to say 90 pounds. And my husband is 6'7", and he's 6'7", tiny now.
Wow.
I mean, he was, he's slender, so he was 90 pounds, and
But if I can interject, the reason why I believe that, and I know it was God that put the heat to me, is because when I look at what we have now, we have an 11-year-old son. We have, he wouldn't have been here. His soul and how we're raising him was dependent on my obedience. So I was messing up the plan. And God wasn't having it. So, it's deeper than it looks.
Yeah.
But we're stronger for it now, and it's truth. We're having a real conversation.
Yeah.
That's powerful, and I thank you for sharing that, because I think people really need to hear and understand that, you can recover through that. And when you say that your marriage preserved you, your marriage preserved you, because you were trying to take yourself out of here. And when you think about that, there's so much power in that. And what you said about the obedience to God. And if you had not been obedient, and because you were going against God's will, these things were happening. And you talked about eating from the menu and not just looking at so many gems you just dropped, Victor. I'm like, it's so powerful. And to be able to be here, like you said, to have your son, because you started following the obedience, and had you not, then he would not be here. Sheila, in what year? Go ahead.
One monkey doesn't stop a show. I believe had I been disobedient, God would have sent someone else to take my place. Because God is going to do what God is going to do.
Yeah.
It was just up to me to jump on His plan.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying the fruits of it now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. No. This is about you guys. I wanted to ask Sheila, so what year did the infidelity begin, and how did you find out, and how did you handle it?
It was 2008. And it was 2008 we separated, and I think I didn't find out until, I want to say, maybe, I don't know, the end of 2008, early January of 2009 or something like that. And I'm going to be honest with you. At first, I was hurt. You know, I was very hurt. You know, and
so I just want to give people context. So you guys got married in 1998, correct?
No, we got 99. We got married in 2000.
So you
July 1st, 2000.
Okay, so you guys, because you met early, you met in 99. You said, right?
Right.
Okay.
We met in 1999. We got married a year later.
Okay, I just wanted to put context to it. So you got married in 2000, and then this happened in 2008, and you found out in 2009. So this is the 9-year mark.
Well, I found out. Well, we had separated, and I found out, I think, like 2000, like the end of 2008, because I think this separation happened in September of 2008, and I think like the end of that year, I found out that we had been separated, so that he had been seeing someone.
Seeing someone before the separation or during the separation?
No, after.
Got it.
During the separation.
Got it.
We separated, and then he was seeing someone. So it wasn't like, I found out he was cheating and we separated. No, we were separated, and he was seeing someone while we were separated.
Got it.
And to be honest with you, I had started seeing someone too. So it's like, it was a little bit of a both.
Yes.
But to be honest with you, but we were trying to get back together, we were talking or whatever. I think we got back together in June when he called me. We got back together in June of 2009. That's when he called me. And I remember it so clearly because I was getting ready to go to church that day. And I called my pastor and told him, because we were supposed to have like a second service or something. I called my pastor and I told him that I was, my husband had called me, and I was going to see him. And I thought it was odd that he said to me, he says, well, you got to be careful because I don't want him to hurt you. That's what the pastor said. And I knew my husband, so I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But I didn't want him to be hurt. You know what I'm saying?
And you didn't know his state of mind
himself,
at that time. Yeah, because did you know his state of mind at that time? Yeah.
No, I didn't know his state of mind, but I knew that he wouldn't hurt me.
Yeah,
I knew that much.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. But I didn't know he would hurt his. I didn't know what he would do to hurt himself. So I went over, and I said, you know what? At this point, I said, this is over. This is over. I said, you're coming home, and we're gonna take care of this. We're gonna take care of this. You're coming home. We're gonna take care of this. When I walked in and I saw him, and I saw what he looked like. I mean, he was skin and bones. And I said, you know what? You know, this we can't do this. We can't. You can't live like this. We can't have this. And I remember I took him home. We went back home, and we went to church that afternoon. You know, and we worked through it. You know, and we're here today. You know, we're here today.
Years.
And
so I want to ask Victor. So I want to go ahead. Go ahead, Sheila.
No, go ahead.
Yes.
No,
no, it's just, you know, when people say that, people will say that, and I do believe marriage is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could have said, well, you know what? You're seeing someone, call her. Yeah, call that girl on the phone. I could have been that type of a person, but I loved my husband, you know. Regardless of what we were going through, I still loved him, and I knew that he was a man of God, you know. And he did have a good heart. It was just you know, he got caught up to a point where we weren't respecting each other, and but I think we wouldn't be here today. I don't think if we didn't go through all of that, because I think that made us stronger. I mean, we disagree. We disagree. We're a married couple. We disagree. We get into arguments, but we're not talking about leaving each other.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I think so. I think we are.
You think, and it just kind of lapsed a little bit.
Their question?
No, it just lapsed a little bit. You said, I think we are. What were you saying before that? You said, I think we are.
No, I think we are. If we didn't go through what we went through, I don't. I don't. No, I was saying that to my husband, but I know we are a lot stronger.
Yeah.
In our marriage, because of what we went through.
Yeah.
You know, it is. I think it's helped us a lot. You know.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask Victor. So, when you were pretty much skin and bones and you were losing weight and you wanted to check yourself out, is it because of the embarrassment, because of disobedient to God, because you hurt your wife, or you guys, separated at that time and she was seeing someone, you were seeing someone? What was it that was really like touching your soul and your spirit and making you feel this way? Like, what was that thing that you were not eating clearly and just really not forgiving yourself?
Okay. I believe it was the spiritual connection that I had taken part in, and when the individual left, it created a void. That void wasn't from God. It was from the devil, I believe, because it was carnal. It was birthed in carnality. So when the void left, and God is on the side saying, "You better handle it, because I don't bless no mess." That's where I felt felt the loss. That's where I felt suicidal because the bill had come. When you're doing wrong, I've learned that when you start in sin, it's great, but you have to pay for it. Yeah. Even if you're saved, you gotta pay. And when payment came, I didn't have the Holy Spirit or His anointing to draw from because He was upset at me because I left the wife that He sent me. So that kind of left me in no man's land. And that's when I didn't eat, and I used to go to sleep and wake up and see those entities around my bed because the person I was with took part. It was a shaky time.
Yeah.
I believe that the devil tried to take me out.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want us here.
Yeah.
He knew, so he said, let me try to take him out early, and I just thank God that, I was able to come to my senses and find a beautiful church, Love Oasis Christian Center, and, God has the tools, but He gives you free will.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to hear God.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So,
yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that because that's so powerful. You said so many powerful things, both of you. My goodness, my God. So
he's a powerful man.
Yeah, and you still smiling after like 24 years like that. I'm loving it. Because you have a bond and you have gone through things together that that some people can't recover from. And I know, Sheila, you said that, you know what, even though I'm dating over here, he's dating over here, we're separated, we're not sure how this marriage is going to go, but your love for him and seeing him, putting your eyes on him, saying, you know what, this is going to stop right now. How was that rebuilding stage? Because you guys were already separated, and now you're together, and you're dealing with this person over here, that person over here, but you're coming back together. What was that rebuilding season like for you guys?
Well, to me, it wasn't rebuilding because remember, God had set it up for us to meet. And the first catalyst for us to be successful was already there. It's just my rebellion that stopped it. So once I let go and let God, then everything just fell the way it was supposed to go.
So God naturally rebuilt it.
It was basically...
Yeah, because it was like, once we were back together, we moved into a new place, right? And everything it was just like normal. Everything fell back into place, and
that's God.
It was it was funny because someone asked me, and we never had a chance to talk about it. And it stayed in my head. But one of my friends asked me, "How did you?" She knew what happened. Everybody knows now. But she had asked, "Well, how do you?"
You got medicine ball too.
That's one of her reasons. But it was like, how did you forgive and move on? And it's like,
but it would have to be both of you forgiving.
You love someone.
But it would have to be both because you were seeing somebody too, and he was seeing somebody. Right?
Yeah, but one reason why I was seeing somebody was because...
Oh, because he was?
He was gone.
Yeah, he was gone.
But it wasn't like, I knew that...
That was good.
I'm like, it's on both sides here. How did he forgive too?
Listen.
I'm just trying to state the facts here. I'm trying to state the facts.
So so you got to remember on my side, right? I almost left here. So anything God is telling me to do going forward, I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about me letting go of my pride, letting go of my carnality, and submitting.
Mm-hmm.
I had to decrease so God in this marriage could increase.
Mm.
So when pride gets in there, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
If she's doing something that is not working, I'm going to God first. Hey, Father, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Help me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he usually balances things out.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to forgive because all I had to do was submit. And as I submitted, I was able to, grab
Yeah.
and forgive it.
Yeah. So how do you answer that, Sheila, when people say, how do you forgive?
Something. Well, it was, it was one of what he said. And it's like, you gotta not worry about pride and what other people think. And you gotta you had to follow your heart. And I'm not going to lie. I was hurt. I was hurt because, to me, this is the love of my life right here. I've had boyfriends. I've had, but this is my husband and this is the love of my life. And this happened. And, we were in the church and people in our church knew, but I remember something that my mom said, and she said to me, I was talking to her one day, and she said to me, well, Sheila, don't you want your husband? And I'm like, she says, don't you love your husband? Don't you want your husband?
This is why you were separated.
I said, I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do. She's like, well, then don't worry. People are always going to talk. People are always going to talk. But it's what you listen to. And I knew that he was someone that I prayed to God for him. I asked God to send me a husband. That's what I asked for. And this, I specifically asked God to send me a husband. A husband who was God-fearing. And regardless of what happened, I know my husband is God-fearing, but things happen. I mean, me, I'm God-fearing. Things happen. No one is perfect. And that's why we have grace. That's why we have mercy. And that's why God gives us grace. That's why God gives us mercy. So it depended upon if I wanted to stay and be in a marriage that God had ordained and asked and prayed for, and I wanted to work at, or I wanted to be like everyone else, and a lot of other people who just don't want to work at it and say, okay, well, this is what happened, so let's let it go. I knew that I wasn't perfect. There were things that I was not perfect in the marriage. It wasn't just him.
Yeah.
It was me too.
Yeah. I
said earlier, I was a man, and I was, I was very high maintenance. It had to be my way. I was saved, but it had to be my way. And I had to learn how to submit. It's still kind of hard. He's laughing. It's still kind of hard.
24 years in the making.
It's still hard, but it is hard. Kendall, it's hard. People would say, "Oh, it's roses." It's not. It's not. When you stand up before God and you take those vows and you commit to someone, it's through good and bad, through death do us part. And unless he was abusing me mentally, physically, I chose to stay in my marriage. When my husband came, when I saw my husband, and I brought him back, I knew then. I'm like, I'm not gonna be one of those women who is standing over my husband's coffin talking about, oh, I wish I had been there. I'm not gonna be. I wasn't raised to be spiteful, and I still loved him.
That's powerful.
I love him,
That's
So,
powerful.
I mean,
Whew.
and that's what it was. So,
Wow. And when you put it like that, like standing over the cup, that's powerful. Like you knew you didn't want to have that regret, or you didn't want to be disobedient to God, because God told you that. Like as soon as you said, you coming back. Like, and you not forgot about, but you weren't thinking about none of the other stuff. You were thinking about the man that you love, his health, and getting him back to a place. And like Victor said, you preserved him. And I think people take that lightly. I want to go back to that, because people take that so lightly. You preserved him, and in a relationship, in a marriage. And I stated, and you guys can look it up, and I'm going to get the statistics, but men live longer with a wife than they do because of that, because of how God made us. People laugh and be like, dang, so the woman got to carry everything, and he's living longer, and the woman is like holding the fort down when it comes to certain things. But it's God's design. It's God's design. When you think about that helpmate is so important to have, especially the right one. And if you truly love and care about somebody and you see him in that condition, you're not going to be like, well, you put yourself there, or this is what it is, because that's not really love. So you were able to see love in that moment, because if you did not say come home, I would question, and you would question the love.
Yeah.
Because what does the Bible say in 1 Corinthians? Think about that. Love is kind. So you didn't think about yourself. So you say, I don't think you give yourself enough credit, Sheila, because you say I was high maintenance, and it's hard for me to obey, or submit, I should say, and it's hard. But the way that you loved him back to life, you have to really stand in that moment. And because you haven't said, I loved you back to life, that shows the humility and the commitment to your marriage, and the obeying God's command. That's really what all three of those.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have been through a lot. We're not going to, talk about that. I don't know if Victor wants to talk about that, but you guys have been through a lot, and you were able to overcome so much in your marriage. Is that because God is the center? If we don't know the answer, God is the center of your life. I want to talk about how important it is to have God in your marriage, because it's you, and there's God in the center of your marriage. Let's talk about how important that is. And then I also want to hear, as we wind down, to what you love about Victor the most and what you love about Sheila the most. After all of these years, how does she still make the hair on your arm stand up? And you keeping the smile shit. Y'all ain't stopped smiling, so y'all go on and talk about that. Talk about that good love.
You mentioned how was it with God in our marriage?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it's the God in us individually.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless you have that relationship, it's hard to give to your marriage.
Ooh.
So I've learned to strengthen that individual relationship between God and myself. And then from that, he'll give me jewels and strategies and patience and grace to give to the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. That's powerful. If you don't have God at the center of your life individually, how can you have God in the middle of your marriage? That's just, it's, you put it so simply, but it's so true. What about you, Sheila? Same answer?
would say it's the same answer.
No fair, no fair.
I think it's the same
Cheat
answer.
code.
I mean, Victor's Victor this is what do. This is what we gotta do. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It's usually something that I don't really want to do, but I'm like, okay, all right, hun. But I mean, there's things that he does, he'll get up and certain times I don't know, I guess God is telling him to do this, and I never say it to his face, because I'm like, he's always doing it when, like, we're running out or something. He's like, okay, let me anoint you, and he'll get the oil, he'll put it on my forehead, my hands, my feet. He'll do the same for my,
that's beautiful,
for our son, and he's very, very, he's like that, and that's important. That is important to me, even though I don't tell him enough. On my end, if there's things that are going on, I have like a journal that I'm writing my stuff in, and I put my prayers in that journal, and I just pray on it, and if I want certain things done, like I'll ask them to do certain things, and like men, they sometimes they don't always get to it. I'm the type of person, if I ask you to do something, I want it done right away,
Mm-hmm.
and my husband's more laid back. He'll be like, okay, I'll get it, honey. I'll get it. I'm like, yeah, but it's not, so I'll just sit and I'll write it, in my journal, and I'll pray on it. And eventually, the curtain rods will become. That's a problem.
It's beautiful. So Victor, that's funny. No, you're fine. So when you look at this woman sitting next to you, what still begets your heart when you think about Sheila and think about what you love about her? Like, what still has you after all of these years, like, oh?
Her anointing. When I get around her, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I'm supposed to cleave to. This is who I'm supposed to relax around. When you've been married as long as we have, you've seen a lot of things and been a lot of places. Mm-hmm. But what lasts more than the beauty is that comfort level, that touch in your heart, just like, okay, this is a safe place to be. Mm. How we feed off of each other. We do argue, and when we argue. Mm-hmm. But the basis of it is God. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel. I feel him happy with me when I'm with her. Mm. So that's yes.
You feel God happy with you when you're with her. Y'all about to make me cry. Yeah. I haven't cried during this relationship series this season yet, but y'all got like the little tear right here. I feel it forming. That's beautiful. I feel God is pleased with me when I'm pretty much loving her or with her or when she's in my presence. Sheila, like you can't. That's powerful.
But it's like we can't. We're out of sync. We're not. He may not know this. He knows it now, but everyone, I go to bed early. I'm a early.
Right, the audio. I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. The audio.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
I didn't
can
hear anything you said, and I want to make sure the audio version of this podcast catches it too. Yes, I do know you go to bed early, and this is a stretch, so I appreciate you being on this show because you shut it down.
But the thing is that my husband, he's a late night person, and the where he works, he comes home late a lot of times, and even though I'm in bed, I can't rest or sleep until I know that he's here. You know, he's like the safe haven. You know, he's my safe haven. He's my anchor. Can I use my word? He's my safe haven. You know, and you know, but that's what he's my safe haven.
I love that. It's beautiful.
And that's what I think. That's what your husband is supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to feel peace and comfort, and you know, and that's what he is. You know, that's exactly what he is to me. He's my peace. He's my comfort. He's my safe haven.
I love that. And you're absolutely right. That's what a husband should be. So y'all, if y'all got husbands that ain't your safe haven, I'm not saying what to do, but really think about that. You might want to reevaluate some things or have a conversation, or, you know, you might want to talk about that, because ladies, we like a good safe haven. You know, you want to feel safe with your husband. One thing you don't want to feel is unsafe, right? You don't want to feel like if he's coming late from work, you're happy he's gone.
Exactly.
Or you don't want to be resting real good when he ain't there. You'd be like, "Ooh, I sleep so good." Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, but that's
that's a good one.
I got my best sleep when he ain't there. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. But I love it.
Yeah.
What would you tell as we wind down? What would you tell someone who is ready to give up the first year of marriage? Because you guys are in year 24.
You want to answer that, hon?
Yeah, I would say
the union that God put together, because God didn't put together some of these unions.
Right. No, so I would say make sure that your first mate is God. Check on that relationship first, because it's from that you can get instruction on if you're in error or not in error in the natural marriage. So your spiritual marriage has to be first and foremost. Once you got that straightened out, then you can get direction going forward. Because he might tell you to just leave the person. He might tell you to stay. But get that relationship straight first.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
That's excellent.
That's what I would say. But don't.
Excellent advice.
Yeah, I would say that. And stay away from social media. All young marriages.
Yeah.
It will destroy you. It will destroy your marriage.
He said young marriages stay away from social media.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Let's and Sheila, before you go, tell them why, because we want the why. We can imagine the why, but why do you think it's wise to stay away from social media your first year of marriage? Explain that for the people all the way in the back.
Okay. Social media is, in my belief, consists of many portals. So unless you know what spiritual entity is pushing that portal, it's best to stay away from it. Because you might be trying to go right, but the portal that you're feeding on is going left.
Ooh.
And then know what portal you're feeding on spiritually, and then once you get that, then you can go forward. If you can't navigate that, just stay away.
Yeah.
Just stay away, because you'll be in West Bubble someplace, and then you'll be 90 pounds like I was.
He said West Bubble and be 90 pounds. That's real talk, though. That's real. That's real talk. That's real talk. Because ain't nobody trying to be in West Bubble barely eating. Ain't nobody trying to do that. You know, because everybody doesn't have a Sheila to bring them back to life.
and that's the thing, Kendall, because you listen to a lot of these, and that's, one of the things with social media. You listen to that, or you'll have people in your ear. It's very, 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 very important. Mm-hmm. And I always say this: I don't talk about my issues or whatever problems or whatever discussions we have with me and my husband. If we have a disagreement, I don't go outside and talk to people about it.
Yes, Sheila.
And I always tell him, don't, what goes on between us is between us. I don't want you talking to my family about it, or I all the time, And that's important, because you have people who, like you said, they're on social media, or they get in your head and they're telling you this, and they don't know your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Some of them are not Christian. Mm-hmm. Some of them are out there working, doing whatever. And just imagine a new couple, and they went through what we went through in that first or second year marriage, and that wife gets a call from her husband saying that he wants to commit suicide, and her girlfriend her in her head, or she's watching social media, and she's I'm woke, I'm this, I'm that, well, you go, go get that, go let the other girl you were with help you. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like we lose sight. We want to be prideful and all of this, and it's about love. Yeah, and it's about, if you love that person, then you're gonna go through hell and high water. You're gonna do whatever it is. You're going to go through hell and high water, because marriage is not easy. It's a conscious effort every day to get up and to make sure that you're saying the right things, you're doing the right things. You wake up, and I say all the time, he doesn't know what Sheila he's going to get. Yeah. He could get the feeling one day that just ain't in the mood, and he has gotten the Sheila that's not in the mood. And he's like, okay, hon, all right, I'm going to go for a walk. Yeah,
but that's learning your mate. And I've often talked about this when I was in my 30s. One of my clients, they had been married a very long time. And I said, so what? I'm in my 30s. I'm like, so what is the secret sauce? He said, these men out here have to learn their mate. If they learn their woman, he said, it would be the best marriage. And I think the women should learn the man too. When he wants to talk, when's a good time to talk? When, like you said, Sheila, when he knows that you're not for it today, you're not having it. When he knows you're quiet, I think it's so important, because it will save a lot of couples a lot of trouble and heartache if you learn the person, because everybody, no matter how you gel, no matter how much you're alike, you're still not a clone. You're not the same person. So some people, it takes a beat for them to wind down after work. Sometimes, somebody don't want a whole lot of talking in the morning. Somebody may not want a whole lot of talking at night. Look, he said,
You know what? He's I'm legit. I want to yak all morning. And he gets up and he's like, all right, he's not a morning person. Yeah. I'm a morning person.
Yeah. And I, because we are talkers, you do have to learn different things like that. And I know, so it's important, if you're just starting out with somebody you don't know, ask, hey, do you like peace and quiet in the morning? When you go to sleep, what is your routine? When you wake up, do you pray? Like, what is the routine? What is it? Because I know my oldest daughter, both of my daughters, they don't want to hear a lot of talking in the morning. So I'm used to that. Like, I'm up, I'll be playing gospel or listening to my devotional. So I'll be doing so. I would have to ask that. I'm not married now, you know what I mean? But I would, it's important to ask those type of questions, because you don't want something as simple as that where someone else is conceding and saying, okay, it's fine, when it's really not, because they build little pieces. So I think it's important for people to have conversations and discussions so you can get to learn your mate. What do you guys think?
I ask God.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask him, God, help me be the perfect husband, or help me be a better husband.
Come on.
And the closer I get to him, he'll tell me, and sometimes he'll tell me to do things that I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like last Sunday, it was Mother's Day,
and this Sunday.
Oh yeah,
this past Sunday.
He told me to.
Depends on how you look at it. It's last Sunday because it's past. Yeah. It depends on how you look at it.
And he told me to take off work and to spend time. So I didn't want to do it, but I knew it was him. So I said, all right, God, I'm going to take it off. And it was the best day.
It was the best.
I saw your picture. So cute.
I said, my son was saying, Mom, you smiling all day. It was the best. It really, really was the best Mother's Day, and it wasn't like, it was, we did a lot of nothing special, but it was just the best Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And I hugged them and I kissed them and I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Because it was a really good, and it made me happy,
Yeah.
I was so happy.
But that came from him. So that just goes back to what I said before. Once you're positioned with him, he'll tell you what you need to do.
That's so powerful.
You just have to be humble to do it. And then when you do it, then you're like, oh, okay, this is working, So,
that's so powerful.
Yeah, because I really don't know what I'm doing. This is all uncharted. So
that's real. Keep it real, Victor.
And he works it out.
Keep it real, Victor. I love it. But, I often tell Sheila, like, I see so much joy in her. I see so much happiness in just that, my sister, the beautiful spirit that she has, like, it oozes from her. And she says that at 50, well, you want to tell your age, at her age, you want to share it? At 58, she's the happiest that she's ever been. Now, your smile is not missed on me, Victor, because you haven't stopped smiling. Both of y'all are smiling. Tell me and I already know the answer, but the joy. Have you always had this joy together? I know joy comes from the Lord. Have you always had this joy together? This laughter, this connection?
Well, we always laugh.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Keep it real. Victor going, one thing about Victor, wait, let me pause. One thing about Victor, he going to keep it all the way 100. I'm loving it. He said, no.
No.
Come on, Victor, let's talk about it.
And the only reason why it's not constant joy and constant laughter is because we are still in this flesh.
Yes.
If we were in heaven, it would be constant.
Yes,
but we
that's
have
deep.
to navigate the spiritual body in this natural environment. So with that, we have to manage ourselves, and there's different impasses. Sometimes I got to take a walk. Sometimes she's got to hold her tongue. It's
that's real.
It's not all peaches and cream.
It's real.
If we then individually in Christ, then He'll give us what we need to come together and build.
And you also have to understand too, Kendall, is like we were married in like mid-30s, right? So the person that we were in our mid-30s is different than the person we were in our 40s, and we're definitely different in our 50s, And I always say, and I say this now, I never knew what joy was until now. I've heard of the unspeakable joy and the joy that you can't take away from me. And my husband, when I get in one of my Sheila moves, he said, "Oh no, you're not going to take my joy today."
You're not going to be a joy robber today. The joy bandit.
You ain't taking my joy today. And I'm like, well, what, but it's like, I'm happy. I was happy, but now I have joy.
Yeah.
So no matter what happened, it's not consistent on a person.
Yeah.
It's joy.
I think about Kirk Franklin. I think about this when he talks about be happy. He was talking about happy, but you can't take my joy. Like when he talks about the difference between happiness and joy, it's so powerful because happiness is situational. But the joy that you have, happiness doesn't always resonate from the inside out. But that light that you have and that joy that you have, it's undeniable. Yeah. Nobody would be able to dim that light. Nobody.
Yeah.
Because God put it there.
And the fact is, all the stuff that I'm taking on now and doing, he lets me do it, and not that he lets me do it, but it's like he leaves me alone to do it. He's not always when we need to do this. If I'm saying, "Hon, I have a podcast that I want to do. I have podcasting that I got to do." He's not bothering me. He lets me do that. He allows me to be alone to do that.
Yeah.
He's not, we need to spend time together because you're doing all this podcast. He's not like that. He gives me my space. I give him his space.
Yeah, it's important.
And I think that's important.
It is important.
Everyone needs their space.
It is important.
Yeah. So it's just that. So I can't explain it. It's just
no. You're explaining it.
It's just beautiful that I'm at a point where I have this joy.
Yeah.
And he's happy. He has his joy. We're good.
I love it.
We're good.
All right, we're gonna play a game. And then we're gonna end, and we're gonna see. You're gonna see how much alike you guys are, and and my questions are over there, but I got some right here, so we gonna go. Because I slid in here and did this right after the gym. All right, so, and both of you can just yell it out. Breakfast or lunch? No, breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast.
Dinner.
Vacation.
Wait. What do you... Wait, I'm confused. What do you mean? Like...
We playing this or that. Just one of them. Whatever you like. This or that. Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
I'm breakfast.
Okay. When it comes to vacation, adventurous or relaxation?
Relaxation. It's relaxation.
What you talking about? Adventurous.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Summer or winter?
Summer.
I love it. Movie in or movie out?
Movie in.
He said shoot. That's when somebody's 50 and over, because that's what we say. We be like, shoot. Especially, I'm from Jersey. That's what we always shoot. You New York, shoot. All right. I love it. Some people don't. Salty snack or sweet snack?
Sweet.
Sweet for him, salty for me.
Okay.
He's a sweet. He loves sweet. I love salty.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last question. Boop, 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 boop. Does intimacy get better after 24 years?
It gets, you know what?
For me or for her?
Honestly, think honestly, I think it gets better because of the fact that we can be a little bit more freer.
I thought you were going to say another F word.
We could be a little bit more. I think we could be a little bit more freer.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's. Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could be a little bit more freer.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about, you know, unexpected things happening.
Right.
So we can, you know, we can be a little bit more free. I would like to experiment a little bit more, but you know,
no,
especially now that I'm working out. You know what I'm
Sheila,
saying?
let me tell y'all, Sheila done lost almost 90 pounds naturally. I told her she done lost I told her she lost a 6th grader.
Yeah.
She turned her health around. So let me ask, and we're going to end because I know this is way past Sheila's bedtime, and I appreciate you.
Is it?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, girl.
I know.
Yeah, I'm joking.
So Eric, her weight loss, right? Her joy and the things that have changed. Her new hair. This is new hair.
Victor. You called him Eric.
Oh, I'm sorry. Remember I said that Victor. Eric is my daughter's boyfriend, and we were talking about him, and I told Sheila, Victor. I'm sorry, Victor. So she has changed in a lot of different ways. What are your thoughts about how she took her health into her own hands, and now she really is she's a different woman? What do you say about that?
I don't look. It's not that I don't see her, but I get turned on by her spiritual growth. Because you can be beautiful all you want, but if you're not at my spiritual frequency, I don't want to touch you.
You better.
So that's where it's at. So I've seen that growth in parallel to her body, but it's the spiritual that tells me yay or nay.
That's powerful. And
you remember, I used to tell him when we first started dating that I always used to say to him, because he used to talk about he did used to talk about my looks, how I looked, and I said, you know something, hon, I could be in a car accident and anything could happen, and my looks can go. Remember, I used to say that all the time. I said, people, it's not about looks, it's about this. The inside of a person. Because you could be the finest, the baddest, the sexiest woman on the planet.
Talk about it.
You got a messed up attitude, and you don't,
that part.
It does not look good.
It doesn't last.
It doesn't last. It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. Yeah.
So, but I used to tell him that all the time. I said, it's not about looks, because my husband's, I'm going to say this because he's my husband. I think my husband's fine,
Look at him.
And when I was doing 25 years ago, he was really fine. You know what I'm saying? So he just got finer with time.
Come on now. Look at Victor.
But again, looks do, looks change and whatever. And what I did it wasn't for my husband. It was for my health.
Yeah.
It was for my health, because I wasn't comfortable with what I looked like, how I felt.
Yeah.
And that's what led me to do what I do. And now I love it. I'm trying to get my husband to come to the gym with me.
Yeah. I love it.
He's been saying now for weeks, for months. But he'll get there.
So people want to hear and quickly. So intimacy, because we know intimacy is a vast situation, right? It's not just one thing. Has it gotten better for you over these 24 years, Victor?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Me? Yes. It has gotten better because of her spiritual attributes.
Yeah.
Because even during the physicality of a relationship, there's a turning point, even in the midst of those actions, that it turns spiritual.
Yeah.
So when you go past the physical and you say, "Oh, okay, I touched the spiritual," then it's yes. It has gotten better. I wish we could be doing it more, but it has gotten better. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Victor, look, Victor, that's Victor. Victor is my boy. Victor, I'm loving me some Victor.
If it was up to my husband, if it was up to my husband, we would be intimate every day of the week. He every day of the week. But
I love it because I want people. He said sorry. No, I love you guys keeping it real because it's important for people to know that some people think that it gets stale. Some people think that if you're in your 50s, this can't happen or that can't happen. So I really wanted to say that not for people to be in your business, but to really understand and to know like it could be better at this stage in the games. So I love that.
I believe that it's better. I believe that like I said, I believe that it's better. It's just so, it's, I don't know. It's just, you're more, I'm more comfortable with my body. He's, I just think it's more, it's better.
Yeah.
It's better. It's definitely better.
Yeah.
All
right. So last question, and for after you tell people where they can find you, Sheila, and your podcast, and what Victor has going on because he's a talented creative as well. What do you want the audience to know about marriage? And that's the final question. And relationships in general.
I'll let her go first, and then I'll go wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just know that if you, just know that if you trust God, first of all, if you there was something a Sierra prayer or something. Mm-hmm. I think it was Sierra's prayer, where she prayed for her husband. Mm-hmm. That. Pray for the person that you want and be specific because God will answer your prayers. And if you ask God for that mate and you're seeing that person that you pray for, that's who God sent you.
Yes.
To you. I found my husband in 3-4 months. God sent him to me. And from that point, we've never, except for that couple of months we were separated, we've been together all that time.
Yeah.
Right? And if you pray for it, believe that he's going to send it to you, and then receive it. Receive him and continually pray over your husband because it's a learning curve, Pray to be a good wife. If that's what you want, pray to be a wife, because that was one of the things I had to do. I wanted a husband, but I had to pray. I had to learn how to be a wife. I had to learn how to give up some of myself, some of my space.
That's real.
To be with to share with another person.
That's good, Sheila.
So just be willing to do that, and know that it takes work. And Michelle Obama said something that. If you're married 25, 30 years, and maybe out of that 25, 30 years, you may have maybe 8 years or so where it's not such a they're not great years, but work through those 8 or so years because you have 30.
Yeah.
Why would you have 8 years that are not going where you want it to go, or you're not, work at it. Don't just give up so easily, unless you're in a relationship where you're being abused or, but if you pray for that, God's not going to send you someone that's going to hurt you like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's good advice, Sheila. That's good.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%. I approve that message. Whew. Victor?
Thank you.
That was good.
Yes, I would say, before you get married, make sure that you sever soul ties.
How do you do that? Explain how you do that.
Any relationship, past relationship that you're in, make sure you have closure. Ask God to sever that soul tie. Because if you get into a marriage and say you had 6 partners, even on your honeymoon, it's going to be you, your wife, and those 6 partners. So you got to sever those.
In your twin bed.
Just laying there. You know? So you got to sever.
Hey, move over.
Oh, Lord. Not good.
No, but that's real, though.
Get rid of those. Yeah.
That's
I
real.
would say that. Yeah.
That's good. Y'all, I thank you so much. This was so beautiful. This is a way to end a season on relationships. And I've been telling Sheila all season, I was like, I got to get you on. And she was like, Victor's getting on too. I was so happy. I was so happy about this because it's only right to have both of you on. I'm just so happy, and I'm just so grateful that you know, I'm gonna say it again, stayed up late, and you know, taking the time, Victor, to be to be a part of this podcast, sitting next to your lovely bride. And both of you are a perfect pair. Doesn't mean that you're perfect people, but a perfect pair. And the way that you guys have exalted God today is fantastic, because we talk about God over here on this podcast, this channel. And my goal with every show is to mention God at least one time. And I don't even know how many times he was exalted in this. And, you know, everything kept going back to God. That's the creator. That's the center. So what you all said about marriage, I thank you for sharing intimate parts of your relationship and what you've gone through. I don't take that lightly. I hold it in high regard, because God has saved you both, and saved and restored and rebuilt your marriage, which is super fantastic. Thank you. All right. Sheila, quickly tell everybody about your podcast. Victor, I heard there's some writing going on. Just talk about that, and we're really going to end this time. It's the season finale, so we took it over. And it's my podcast, so I can go if I want to. But go ahead. Tell them about Sheila Take.
That's right. Well, I have my podcast, which is Sheila's Take, and it's new episodes every Wednesday. I'm almost ending my season 3 and starting my season 4. You can find me on Instagram at Sheila's _take. Or I have another one at Stuni, STUNIE1. That's on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. But definitely check out my podcast. It's audio. It's on YouTube. It's on Amazon, Google, Apple, every streaming platform you could imagine. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. All right, Victor, what you got going on? I know you're a creative one. I'm hearing all about you.
Yes. Thank you. I'm pregnant with the vision. I'm pregnant with the vision right now, and you know, in birth you need at least 1 to 9 months. I want to say the first trimester. You will be hearing. I will give you that God. The name of it is Speak for Me. That's the name of my vision. But it's in the early planning stages now.
Yeah.
But I'll make sure that you'll be the first to know.
And your Instagram page.
I don't have an Instagram yet.
You do, yeah. He's Agape Streams.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have y'all back on, and Sheila and I got a lot of things cooking too that you'll see. And again, she is a part of the book, and I'm so pleased. So everybody go to Amazon.com. Can somebody bring me the book? Can somebody bring me the book? In my room, I hear him saying, "You gonna grab it? Who's gonna grab it?" Hey, this is live. I slid through, but I'm so pleased that Sheila is now officially an author, and she has another being a part of this book. She is an author, and this is just the first step.
And I'm working on another one.
I was waiting for you to say
but one hopefully will be out before the end of the year.
Thank you. All right, so this is the book right here. If I can turn it around. Okay, what I've learned about and from my mother through my personal journey as her child, celebrating motherhood and those who raised us, a book of love, lessons, and leadership. So Sheila's story about her mom is right here. This is a beautiful gift. It's not just for Mother's Day. I always say get one and gift one. It's very inspiring.
That's right.
It'll make you chuckle. There's quotes and sayings and memories and stories in here. So make sure you get your copy. Amazon.com. You can get it in 2 days. I didn't tell Sheila this. The official update is going to be the final version to make sure everything, because you guys know when you do books, sometimes you'll see little things that need to be tweaked. So that was done today. And so that will be up next week. But still get the book now. It's beautiful. You'll be able to read through it, And I'm grateful that you were a part of this. Thank you.
And I thank you. And I just want to say too, I'm still, I believe in like my husband likes to do. I'm gifting people the book. So if you're not able to purchase it, just reach out to me DM me on my Instagram, Stuni1, STUNIE1, and I will gift you a copy and I'll sign it for you.
That's beautiful.
You get the donation.
What'd you say? And because what do you say? Donation, okay, right? And because she's officially an author, she's in here. Her picture is in the back of the book, and I'm just so grateful that you are a part of it. But thank you so much. Time is a commodity that we cannot get back. So I thank you guys for taking the time to be with me, and everybody watching and listening. I thank you for taking the time, your valuable time, to listen and to watch this podcast. This is Shine with Kendall Anise. This is a life podcast. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad we were able to shine this podcast, this episode on relationships, love and marriage, standing the test of time. My guest today stood the test of time. You heard their story and some of the things that they've been through. Of course, they can't share their whole life with you in this time, but know that they have been through some things and they're still together, still smiling and laughing, and you can see the joy through them. So if you want to get through it, if you have God, you can get through anything. You have to call on God when things get tough, because he's always going to pull you out. And if he told you that's your person, then you know that you have to fix it with your person. And they did just that, and they came out stronger and better than ever. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are a star. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Till next time, God bless you. Peace. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, so what did you all think? Let's just go to the takeaways from today's show. All right, it's time for this week's gem. Takeaways from today's show. All right, my hugest takeaway from this show. First, wasn't it incredible? We want to thank Victor and Sheila for sharing their truth and keeping it all the way authentic. That's how you heal. That's how you grow. And you pass on the knowledge and pass on what you've learned to other people, to other couples, so they know that they're not alone in those low valley seasons. I just want to thank Sheila and Victor once again for being amazing guests. Thank y'all. Love y'all. All right. So my takeaway from today's show is God need to be in it from the beginning, the middle, and to the end. As you can see in their story, God was woven all the way through, and they couldn't have gotten through without God. So that's my takeaway. To keep God in your marriage, allow God to be the third person in your marriage. That's key right there. And that's so powerful. So today's show was amazing. This again is the final episode of season 11, y'all. And we're going to be going into season 12, and it's going to be some amazing conversations and amazing guests for season 12. I'll come back and I'll share some things with you what we're going to do in season 12. I'm trying to work out the kinks now as we speak. But season 12 will start mid-June. So that's when that will start. So we're going to take a quick hiatus. And then y'all know June is my birthday month. So a lot is going to be going on in June. And because I took a small break for the book, typically the break is in June, but I took it a little early. I'm still going to come back to you with season 12 in June. But thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast if you can. If you can rate it, if you can message me, you can always send your thoughts to kendellanise@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Remember, you're a star. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. You cannot hear that enough. God bless y'all. Peace. Thank you for listening to this episode of Shine with Kendall Lanise. For more information about me, visit kendellanise.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at Kendall Lanise. For bookings and life coaching consultations, please visit my website for more information. God bless y'all. Peace.
Shine with Kendall Lanise. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.